pray you be with us tonight and guide us in the decisions we make for the township. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'd like to thank you all for coming. Okay, y'all if you've had a chance to look over the agenda, entertain a motion to accept.
I motion.
I'll second. Motion made and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Approval of the minutes for March 10th. Y'all have a copy of those. You had a chance to read through them. I'm sure that Susie sent it to you on your email. You've had a chance to look it over. Do you have any changes, questions, or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes of March 10th.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made
I'll second.
and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, special meeting on March 21st, 2025. You've had a chance to look them over? I'll entertain a motion.
A motion.
Motion made
I'll second.
and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, moving on. County Commissioner, Mr. Benzing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Supervisor. Lovely, however blustery afternoon. So a few updates from the county. Some of my information is not completely current because we have not met since March the 25th. We would normally meet the day after your meeting, the second Tuesday of the month, but because of a couple of things. Number one, our statutory obligation for the equalization report to be finalized and accepted by the Board of Commissioners following April 14th, and also the Michigan Association of Counties Conference. We moved our meeting up a week, so we will meet tomorrow. So some I have is from our previous session, and some of I have is from our agenda tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big day in Hillsdale County. 911, we will launch our new CAD, or computer-aided dispatch system. The project's been about 14 months in the making, and it will bring us in line with both Jackson and Lenawee County using the same system, providing a bunch of advantages to us. One of them will be on the side of the fire and medical first responder community, that now many departments will actually have terminals in their first response vehicles. So at my fire department at Woodbridge, we'll have one in our medical first responder rescue truck, and then we'll have one in our first due apparatus, our primary fire apparatus. And we can see a lot of information. So if there's hazards on that property, if there are chemicals stored there, a lot of the big ag operation now, we have tank farms, and we have notes in there. We can see all those notes. Plus, we'll be able to get updates if there's additional information from the caller as those things evolve. So tomorrow, hopefully, that will all go smoothly. We do have a lot of backup plans in place as we cut the cord from our old system and switch on over. And that leads me right into my next piece, and that is we're very, very close to start site prep on our power sites. Of course, one of those right here in the township. And so we will have 3 of those new towers we will be putting up, one in Woodbridge Township, one here in Adams Township, and one over in the city of Litchfield in the industrial park. And we've basically done all the pre-work on that, and we should actually start moving dirt here in the very near future. At our last meeting, we did approve our 2025-2026 indigent defense budget. Indigent defense is what many people call the public defender's office. And so several years ago, there was legislation that was passed in Lansing that basically provided for public defenders and put a large portion of that cost off on the state of Michigan, protecting the local units. So Hillsdale County share is capped at around $114,000 initially, and then it goes up by an inflation rate every year, but that's just whatever the inflation rate is, whereas that total budget is in excess of $1 million a year. Right now, we don't have, across Michigan's 83 counties, we really don't have a true standard of what defines someone who qualifies for having an attorney appointed for them if they say in court that they can't afford one. The bar that we use here, according to Kim Berger, who runs that office for the county, is that if an individual faces jail time, not that there's potential, in other words, if the violation it says up to 90 days in jail, but realistically, historically, an individual has been sentenced to jail for that offense, and they say, I can't afford an attorney, that would be when. If it is an offense that would merely be a civil infraction, there would be no jail time associated with it, then they would be responsible for paying for their own attorney. So that's how we do it, at least here in Hillsdale County. There has been talk in Lansing of actually creating some form of financial criteria that would then create a level playing field across the state, but right now we don't have that. Tomorrow on our agenda, we will approve loans to both the drain revolving fund and the lake level revolving funds. This is something that we do every year. It's very, very routine. It'll actually be handled under our consent agenda, and we loan them money every year. And then as those taxes come in, because we always collect taxes in arrears, then they are paid back. It's basically just done by a ledger transfer. And so, but we will have those both on the agenda. And tomorrow we will also receive that equalization report that I referred to earlier. Like I say, it has to be up to the 14th, which is today. So tomorrow Nick will present that. It is in our packet for tomorrow, which is available on the county website, but it does have to be approved by the Board of Commissioners. And now that your assessor has gotten all the information in, all the boards were included, Nick has done all of his magic. And once that report is approved, we will then send it on to the State Tax Commission, and it will be available on the county website for any of the public to view that. We will also approve tomorrow a resolution that we do annually to allow the treasurer to go out for bids to borrow for our delinquent taxes. Of course, as you likely know, that when those taxes are returned delinquent to the county treasurer, we borrow that money and then make all of the local units whole. So we make the schools whole, we make any of the people that have the special voted millages, such as medical care, the ambulances. We borrow that money, send it with townships, and then we send you a check for that, and then we collect it. So something we do every year. So what will happen is we'll approve the borrowing for that. The treasurer will then go out for bids. We'll get bids on that, and she will bring those back with the individual that she has selected as the lower bidder. And surprisingly, that's usually one of our local county financial institutions. They've been pretty good over the years in buying that. I think we're probably a pretty reliable customer, and we get their money back. So they're happy to have that business. And we will then approve that entity, whomever that is successful in that bidding. Tomorrow we will have a meeting over in Branch County immediately following the Board of Commissioners. Mark Wiley and I will travel over and meet with the administrator and the sheriff in regards to the continuation of a multi-year agreement we currently have in effect for animal control. So Hillsdale County for a number of years has contracted with Branch County. Back around 2017, their animal shelter over there burned. And so in order to rebuild that, we actually put some of the money up to help rebuild that shelter with the idea we would receive a credit for the dogs that we took over there. So what happens is if a dog is taken over there and the owner claims it, then they pay whatever the boarding fees are for it. However, if that dog is not reclaimed by the owner, it ends up after a statutory period of time, it is then relinquished, and that animal is destroyed if they are not adopted. Somebody doesn't come there for a period of time where they can be adopted, and then that animal is destroyed. But the average cost the county pays for that on those dogs that are not reclaimed is about $84 per dog. So we have been receiving a credit towards that money that we put in towards the shelter. Our agreement with them goes for a little bit less than 2 more years, and so we're going to be discussing with Branch County tomorrow what the future of that agreement looks like. If we're going to continue, and if we are going to continue with that, what the cost would be for boarding those animals over there. So I'm sure that I will have an update for you at future meetings. And the last thing that I have for you is a piece of good news for residents of the county. I learned last week that the Southeast Michigan Food Bank is going to have a food distribution all through the summer months in Hillsdale. It will be up at Southeast Michigan Works. So if you go at Care Drive, where the Sheriff Department is, and the first building to the left is Lifeways in the upper story, Southeast Michigan Works is in the lower story. It will be in Southeast Michigan Works parking lot. They will be there on the third Wednesday of the month, so starting last week, the 17th, and they will run through the third Thursday in October, and they will be there from 10 to 11:30, and then they are going to pack up and move over to Litchfield to their municipal complex over there where the fire station is, their city hall is over there, and they will be in the parking lot there from 12:30 to 2. So if you know of anyone who might benefit from receiving food products from that distribution, please let them know about that. And that concludes my report for the evening, unless you have questions for me.
Anybody got questions for Mr. Benson? Seeing none?
Thank you very much. I'll excuse myself and run the ransom. Thank you very much.
Be careful.
Be careful.
Okay, next up, Mr. Klein.
Thank you for having me. At our board meeting last week, we okayed contracts between the road commission and the townships. And when we got to Adams Township, we found a clerical error. Brown Road situation. And instead of it being $21,850, the township share would be $43,700. We apologize for the error, but it was a clerical error.
And what was the first number?
$21,850. It's actually double that because we have 100%. The township buys 100% of the materials, and then the road commission does the work to put those materials down.
Could you repeat, I'm sorry.
So anyways,
Hello?
Could you repeat the final figure, the new figure?
43,700.
Thank you.
It'd be just double of what the original one was, 21,850. It was copied and pasted, and instead of bringing it down to 43,700, the clerk brought it down as 21,850, so it was a wrong number. Ever since the storms that hit, the road commission's been out doing tree work, culvert replacement for culverts that got destroyed, attempting to start on the gravel roads. They're starting to get dry enough now. I know some work has been done in spots to alleviate water that was on the road with a motor grader. But as soon as possible, they're going to get to it so that we can get the roads in shape so we can go to Bryan. On another level, we received word from MDOT that the culvert replacement on M99 north of Camden Road, a contract has been awarded to Slusarski Excavation of Adrian. So they're going to start on that probably in July. So that road will be probably completely closed. There'll be detours going around the county roads. Other than that, Elm Road Bridge, which we have fought with Eagle for almost 3 years now. Now they told us we have to have a muscle study done on that for mussels. I don't know when we're going to get that one replaced. Mussels. We've already done a hydrological study. Find out how much water's going under the bridge. We'd like to kind of replace that. Another item, there's a paint program for school zone markings. We received a grant for that. And so the road commission will be going around checking all the school zones and making sure that the school zone markings are up to date, the paint is, and that the signage is there notifying that it's a school zone. Some of these are going to be new ones for Amish schools. They come under the same, out there on a paved road, they come under the same order as our regular schools. Other than that, that's about all I've got to add. Anybody's got any questions or comments? I'd be glad to hear them.
I'd just comment that mussels deal, that's through the Eagle.
That's through Eagle.
That was the same thing that killed the Lake Bel Air project. I saw Mr. Herman just walked in after a lot of work was done by this township as far as SAD, a special assessment district, and they come along with that extra new requirement, and that was gonna cost, wasn't it 30-some thousand or 50,000 for this mussel study? I don't know if Mr. Herman remembers. People should be contacting their legislatures, I think, to lean on Eagle for ridiculous stuff.
Well, I've contacted Eagle a lot,
Yeah.
and so far I haven't gotten anywhere. Other than that, anybody else got anything?
What's the target date for Brian? You have a target date?
No, we don't have a target date because we've got to get the roads graded.
Okay. Any ballpark?
We're trying to shoot for possibly mid-May, but don't hold me to it.
Okay.
Because when the weather turns bad, all bets are off.
Right.
And we're still trying to complete projects for what happened because of the, what did we get, like 2.5, 3 inches of rain and all the tree work. One thing, another, they have started doing tree work on the Bird Lake Road project, and so that's a carryover from last year, so that will be ditched and deburned this year.
Okay. What about trimming of the trees that are into the roadway? You gonna have a crew this year for that?
We do what we can,
Right.
but we have, the board itself has talked to the manager about hiring contractors to do that. But so far, nothing has been put out for bid or anything. We're still possibly talking about that. But yeah, there's a lot of tree limbs that need to be, and dead trees too, that need to be done, so. On the political front, I don't wanna forget that, the bill passed, a series of bills passed the House for local roads and municipalities. And from the figures that I've seen, it would double the road commission's budget, which would be a great thing. We could then do a lot more work with the townships under maintenance, and we'd have a lot more money to work on cost share projects too. Now it goes to the Senate. The Senate has been in recess, and so there's no word on anything that the Senate is gonna propose. The governor has stated that she's wanting to get some kind of a bipartisan bill signed and get it through, because she did campaign on fixing the damn roads. Hopefully we'll see something out of this. I am gonna compile a list of senators, all of the Democrats are from metropolitan areas, and I would like to give those out to people to send emails or letters to them, to tell them that, you know, we need money for local roads. Our roads are deteriorating faster than we can fix them. We had a part of Drone Road from Addison to Chandler went bad, and we're actually gonna have to go in and mill that out and repave that section because it just fell apart. And we've got others in the county that are getting close that way too. And our budget is, I mean, we've got a $9 million budget, but you figure at $500,000 a mile, how many miles of road are we gonna do with $9 million? Not many. So,
And
that's all.
just so anybody doesn't know, there's over 1,000 miles of road in the county.
I think there's almost that much just for gravel.
500-600, I believe.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, public comment. Means direct your comments to the board, not amongst yourselves. Be respectful. 3 minutes.
Mr. Supervisor, I had prepared a little bit I'd like to read, if I may. Ignorance and arrogance can be a deadly combination. With rare exception, Adams Township seems to exemplify and be the epitome of these characteristics. When your local government leaders snort, scoff, and roll their eyes or look away at the table or the floor while you're addressing them in public, it's pretty indicative of such characteristics, or at the least shows a pitiful lack of decorum and professionalism. This township had a rare person holding office, but you cut them off at the knees. You treated her despicably and disdainfully. She tried to educate, but almost to a T, this township ignored her. There's an axiom that says there are none so blind as those who will not see, and I asked myself if this was written especially for this community. What many of you, and I mean this board and the community, may not realize is that this world is changing. We are living in an unprecedented time. Truth is coming out. You have opportunity once again to gain knowledge that I believe will steer you in the direction of that truth. There's a platform on the internet that starts with R and rhymes with humble, and the reason I'm speaking in this manner is because of the algorithms that detect certain things on certain platforms and can result in removal of information by the authoritarians that operate these platforms. This channel that starts with R and rhymes with humble is a platform that is much more friendly to free speech than other social media sites. At this platform, you should search for The Man Who Saved America, which is podcast number 93 on the Roseanne Barr channel. Most of you had opportunity to hear this man before, but failed to take advantage of that opportunity. I'd encourage you to not make that same mistake again. Don't blow this chance to educate yourself to what most likely is really happening. It's time to wake up. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else on public comment? Would you like to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Introduce yourself and let them know who you are.
Hi, my name's Chris Venturini.
Oh, wait, we have you down. Oh, she has you under new business, so you're not gonna be limited to time.
Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Wait till then.
Who's next on public comment, or Mr. Meeks?
I brought up this,
Unless you're gonna attack us.
no,
All right.
this is that statute I was talking about recording the meeting minutes. So I did some research, and when the taxable value exceeds a certain amount, proceedings are supposed to be published in a newspaper. The threshold's been raised from 50 million, which is what that sheet says. It's now 114 million. I got that from a newspaper report that was commenting on some townships that were not reporting. And that number they got is from the MTA. So the MTA is a source for what this is all about. The value is determined every year by consumer price index increases available from the Department of Treasury. That's in paragraph 6. And current taxable value, from what my understanding in the township, is about 109 million. So you're under the threshold. So it doesn't apply to you all. You might want to keep track of it. You seem to be gaining on that quite a bit. So anyway, I just thought I'd finish up what I brought up. You're not required. The only other thing, in reading this, I got I'm a little perplexed. On paragraph 1, it says that if a board meeting falls on a holiday, it shall be held on the next secular day, which would mean, like the Veterans Day thing that came up last year was on a Monday, of course. It should have been held Tuesday. I'm a little confused because they actually put that in the statute. They actually said, shall be the next day. But we didn't do that. We held it about a week or so later as a special meeting. And I'm just asking the question. I mean, I read this stuff and I'm like, what's going on here? So, I don't have access to the MTA, so I can't ask them, what is all this about and how are you supposed to do these things where you schedule a new regular meeting? But the statute says shall. I used to write standards, and when you use the word shall, that means you must do it that way. So that's one question I had. Then, can you have a regular meeting simply by calling a special meeting? Again, I don't know. It seems like if you read it a certain way, yeah, it's okay. The third thing is, under paragraph 4, it says, regular meeting business can be done at a special meeting if all members are present. Now, it happens that on that rescheduled Veterans Day meeting, Mr. Shattuck was not there. So again, I'm just raising it. I don't know, maybe somebody wants to talk to the MTA and get some clarification on when you know, when you have to do something like this. So, and you know, why is it important? I think it just, people are, you know, they ask questions and say, was it done right? Was the stuff that was made, the decisions that were made at the meeting, were they correct? I mean, were they valid? So I don't know, I just think it's something to investigate. And that's what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Anybody else on public comment? Hearing none, we're moving on. Old business, the flagpole. We got prices on flagpoles. We have a pamphlet. Mr. Shattuck was dealing with that. And he got prices on different size, different style flagpoles. We will be ordering 2 flagpoles. One for the front and one for the cemetery, because last wind that we got snapped the pole off up in the cemetery. So we will be replacing the one in the cemetery as well as the one out front. The one out front here will be put in with, so that it can be lowered down, replace pulleys and ropes, but it will be ropes on there that hold the flag so it can be raised and lowered. Okay, so that will be taken care of, and at this time we'll table the purchase of that until Mr. Shattuck can come up and give us the pricing on it. We have found pricing for it though. Okay. New business. Kirby and Hill Cemeteries. I'm sorry?
It's the same building.
Yeah. It's the bid from Greg Bolenbaum for $3,700 for the 2025 season mowing of Kirby and Hill Cemeteries. Should we have any questions, feel free to call. And that's with Greg Bolenbaum.
Motion.
Okay, motion made to accept.
I'll second.
And seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. The additional cost for Brown Road, which is doubled to the $43,700. We will have to redo what we put in as the amount into the budget for that. So we're gonna have to look at that, and then we'll have to redo the budget and adjust it to the additional $21,850.
You want a motion to accept to do the additional and then accept to none?
And then to amend the budget to show that we have changed the price on the Brown Road to $43,700. So that will have to amend the budget, and that will have to be done. So,
Do we need to vote on whether we all agree with that?
well, yeah, we should, and it should be a roll call vote to increase that, and I wish Mr. Shattuck was here in order to do it. Because I would thing on the new business agenda is marijuana processing. We've been approached by a company who wants to put a marijuana processing plant in our township. It's not a sale, it's not a dispensary, it's not a grow. It deals with a truck coming in with product, the product being processed and sent back out. There's no public interaction in this. And they can explain more about it. These two gentlemen here, if you would stand up please and come up front and introduce yourselves and explain what your process is and how you go about it and how it would benefit us as a township.
All right, my name is Chris Atrini. This is my business partner, Michael. And we want to buy excess trim and stalks and stems, things that are normally not used. And then we break it down into a very fine material using grinders. And then we extract oil from it. And that oil they use to make lotions or gummies or any other edibles. And that's what we'll be making. And we won't be selling it to the public. Like, there will be no signs saying come by, weed here. There will be no one coming to North Adams to go buy things. We don't need signage with a marijuana leaf on it or anything like that, so it's not going to be an eyesore for your community. Grow facilities tend to have a very strong odor, so the dispensaries, processing facilities do not. Most of the things that have a strong odor is the flower, which is what people smoke, and we're not going to be dealing with that. And our building will have sufficient filters to make sure that any odor does the best to make it up with the community. We don't need to be on the main road. We don't need to be downtown or anything crazy like that. We can be tucked away on a few acres somewhere where, no one even needs to know we're there. And we just want to we want to keep it local. I live in Jonesville, and he lives in Hillsdale. And we want to keep it in Hillsdale County instead of going to Jackson, so we can at least give money to our local community, because you guys get a portion of the taxes for it. So
What are you estimating an annual sales at or annual income for you?
That's really dependent on where the market goes, like around in October time when all the places up north that grow facilities all harvest, the price kind of goes down, so it's sort of like balancing it, selling it at the right time in the market. That's a really hard question to answer. In the sense of, it's a really hard question to answer because the price fluctuates depending on the supply. So,
Just real quick, what did you say? Did you make a comment?
When you look up the processing, it has to do with making the gummies and all of that stuff too.
we're not making
we're not making the gummies. Like, we don't want to get in. We want to basically make the product that the other processors use to make their gummies, to make their vape pens and all that other stuff, but we don't want to get into that. Like, we don't want to spend the time doing that, or we just
You're going
want
to be
do that.
strictly
making-
extraction?
Strictly extraction, making oil, testing it, and sending it to a facility that does that.
The facilities that process it currently, that make the gummies and things like that, there's a shortage of the oil and the crystal that's used from there in all of their creation of things. So in the beginning, a lot of the companies were like vertically integrated, like they had a grow facility, a processing facility, and they had dispensaries. So they were like all in one chain. Then they came to the realization that there's a lot of time and money that's lost in processing. So they started cutting that stuff out, and they just started purchasing the oil and the crystals from other people. And that's gonna be us. So it's gonna be beneficial to them, because now they don't have to do the processing. We'll take care of it. And then we send them the things that's used to make the finished product.
Tell me the size of your building. How big a building you guys gonna be looking at?
So we've already ordered a building because we're looking for a place to do it, but it's 5,000 square foot, 50 by 100, galvanized steel tube building from Armstrong Steel out of Colorado because we got a good deal. They didn't charge us the tariff prices. They said that they were eating the cost, and so we got a good deal on the building. That goes into manufacturing sometime this week because we just finished the engineer drawings, and then I'm talking to Full Construction for them to be the general contractor. I'm gonna have Crouch Electric do my electric, Jabor Plumbing do my plumbing. The HVAC people are coming from a little farther north in Michigan, but they just do a really good job. They have the contracts for Westco and state prisons and stuff, and I became friends with them, so I'm gonna have them do that wherever we do it. But I would like to stay in Hillsdale. Like, we have talked to other townships, but some of them, like, they said we could do it, but it's not, I don't know how to describe it. Like, one of the places, like, in Camden, they would allow us to do it, but then, like, we're right in the middle of their town, and people live there, and we don't want them to just have us doing that there in the middle of their town. We'd rather be out a couple of, like, acres. If I was allowed to do it in Cambria Township where I live, I would just parcel off 2 acres on a property, throw it up and be done with it. The money still would go to, like, the county gets an excise tax from the state, but then each township, I think, gets like $58,000 to $125,000 per license they allow in. I'm not sure if that figure has changed since the first building I built in Reading, but I know that it helped them. Yeah, but I'd like to not be right in the middle of Camden, like where there's little kids at parks and stuff. It's still kind of, it's still a business that's in that, and you don't need, I wouldn't want to put it next to any of your houses. I wouldn't want to stick it anywhere near where it would bother you, so.
So what type of security is required for this? What
So-
type of security would you have?
So the state requires that we have 2 cameras on every door facing both north and south, east, west, whichever way the wall is. On the outside, 2 cameras on the inside, cameras on all the product, cameras looking over the parking lot of the property. I think in the other building I built, I had 32 cameras in it, and like 14 of them were outside watching the outside.
With the fence too.
And a fence, yeah, and we put the fence up, a monitored security system. We had, who's the lightning bolt? EPS was our security people that put in the security system and monitored it for us, called us if the wind blew funny, like it would make it go off, so, because we had infrared things on the property to just see a cat set it off a bunch of times. And then in Reading, I worked with the township, or I guess they're the city of Reading, like the city council. Door was always open, they could always come in anytime they wanted, the police could come in, sheriff could come in. We brought the state police when they came in Creer areas, we were like, here you go, sign the paper, walk through the building. So we don't have a problem with that and being transparent with that at all.
And this isn't any public?
Huh?
It's not open to the public?
No, not at all.
If you wanted,
If you wanted to come in, you'd have to, like, you could come, you'd call us and we'd be like, yeah, sure, come on through, and then there's a sign-in sheet. You sign your name, date, time, reason for visit. The state comes and checks that. I think they're doing biannual inspections now, so they're coming twice a year and they're looking at it, they're going through the video footage, making sure that everything's in compliance. And the transporter shows up, but they come in like a Sprinter van. And this building has a roll-up door, so they'll pull in, drop off what they have to drop off, take what they have to take, and we'll open the door and we'll leave again, go out the gate.
in terms of, you said that people can show up, if like someone, like in the city council or the police wanted to come in and they wanted to see what's going on, that's fine. But if they ask to buy things, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, and random, like, so in my other building, I would have people come up and knock on the door, and the way I had it, so, like, they call it a man trap or whatever, where you have a door and then a second door, so like, even if they made it in this door, they're not getting to the next door. And so I would come out and meet them, talk to them, tell them, no, sorry, I can't do that. You really should be on the property. Thanks for stopping by, but I never really had any problems.
I have a question. It sounds like you already have a building.
I built one and sold it. I built the business, ran it for 4 years, and then sold it.
Then you bought new equipment, you want to locate in Adams Township?
No, I'm doing that. I had a grow facility. I don't want to do the growing anymore. I want to do
So what
processing.
do you want with Adams Township?
To put in a processing facility, to build a,
So you bought the equipment, you said you had.
no, we bought a building.
Oh, you bought the building?
Yes.
But you don't have a place to put it yet?
Well, it takes 3 months for them to make it. And sometime in the next 3 months, I should hopefully be able to find someplace.
Another question, maybe personal, but if you already had one in Hillsdale County, why did you sell it?
Because my partner at the time was my uncle, and his wife was getting stressed out. He wanted to get out, so we sold it. It's still a grow facility. We sold it to someone else. We all stayed on for a
So
year.
where do you get the oil? You're talking about extracting oil from
From the
plants?
plant, yeah.
So they're gonna send plants into our, well, not into our townships.
Well,
It comes in like Rubbermaid tubs, like from the grow facilities. They're gonna melt material, not plants. But it's all dry, right? They dry it at their grow facilities. They would process it, have a dumpster that's the dump. The trash man comes and picks up, takes that away. We had it scheduled at a grow facility twice a week. This, we don't know if it's like has to be 3 times a week. We have them come, we'll have them come.
So have you been to other townships?
Oh, yeah. Reading,
They haven't okayed it?
yeah,
Reading okayed it, and so.
and Camden did too, but like,
That's down south, you got
And,
over
and Scipio Township.
Sticker Township's its town leadership meeting is tonight.
Yep.
And so we can't get off.
They don't have an ordinance against it, but they actually have a spot for us, but this is closer for both of us.
So I have a couple questions. If somebody else first.
Just concerned that we don't have, they don't have an idea of where they're gonna do it. It'd be nice to know that information before they give the final approval.
Well, we can't buy the land without permission.
I'm saying maybe give you tentative approval, but not final approval until you tell you where to go.
Yeah.
That's a perfect
Well,
thing.
that's why we came to ask, like, where would be okay in the township?
Like, we don't
we're
want-
not trying to come in and just like put it across the street here.
No.
Like, this is the beginning of the conversation.
Like, if you guys have like a spot that you wouldn't mind us being, because it's like tucked away on a side street, perfectly fine with us. Someone could just have a huge chunk of land and they just parcel us off a couple acres. And they make little money on the sale, and we just go out there. We don't have to be captain your water or your sewage. We don't mind doing a well on septic. So we're pretty easy going with that, and we can pretty much fit in wherever you guys want us to be.
I think the village has won't allow any kind of processing or manufacturing or selling in the village.
The moratorium for the township says that it's growing and dispensary. There's not one against processing it.
I want to check with the village.
Well, the buildings are not gonna be, it's neither here nor there. What do
I
you-
thought this township, now I'm not judging, because I don't care if you have a pot place, I don't care if you sell it out of your house. But what the point is, didn't this township vote it down?
It was moratorium. Mark was
It
in,
was-
Stephanie was in, it was a moratorium that was set in place, when they were on the board, just same as I was on the board. And the moratorium that we put in place, I had Mr. Fink look over. And nowhere in there did it say anything about processing. He said, and I quote, moratorium dissolves after 180 days. It's no good after 180 days.
I thought we passed something before that.
No.
I don't recall that. There was an opting out which
That
I
was
think
the
is what
opting
you're
out.
referring to.
We opted out of everything. That was
And I
done
believe
before
the
you
village
guys.
did the exact same thing.
I wasn't even coming to the meetings when that was voted.
Right, it wasn't before us.
It was before Stephanie was ever on, what I'm getting at, it was before Stephanie was in.
I don't remember for sure.
Well, I do.
Please,
Oh, yeah.
let's not get into it. I'm not saying that we're letting these guys in, I'm not saying that they're not coming in. What I'm saying is, we're having a conversation on whether or not this would be feasible or
Right.
something that would be profitable for the township. Even if it did not make a mess, if it did not smell, if it did not interfere with the neighbors, if it did not cause a ruckus. This is a different product from growing plants by the thousands, harvesting plants which stink. And anybody who's gone by anybody who's growing pot knows that it stinks. And this isn't saying that they're gonna sell dope to the public. This is a completely closed operation.
But see, I don't see the difference because I can grow clones in my yard
Absolutely.
or whatever.
Sure you
So I
can.
mean, what, if they are gonna have a closed facility, I don't, from what I understand, that this, you know, I mean, anyways, yeah, what the oils, yeah. The vapes, they're made, you know, I mean, all the oils are made with the vapes,
That stuff's not made at their facility. The thing, what they are talking about
no, they're gonna
making is oils.
extract the oils.
They're gonna extract the oils and the crystals. Those oils and crystals will be sent to a manufacturer who makes the vapes, who makes the gummies, who makes the pills, who makes the candies. That's where that stuff will be made. They're not making that stuff. And I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, you know.
My point to this whole story is, y'all wanna judge it right now.
I'm not judging
I
anyone.
mean, you don't, anyways, like I said, I can go home and I can go up and get me some clones and I can grow stuff 6 feet tall right in my
12
yard.
plants.
So, that's, when it flowers, I'm gonna have everything I need anyway.
There you have
That's the whole point.
it. They're not open to the
So they're
public.
not doing anything really that would bother anyone.
Nobody.
That's my point.
And the point that we're making is that the township will and could possibly
You're gonna
receive a revenue.
because marijuana is one of the biggest, but the government can't put their nose in it.
We just don't want to get into the sales of it. We don't want to get into the manufacturing of it. We don't want the township involved in a dispensary or
You
grow
can't, because
operation.
you guys voted it down.
But that moratorium, which we voted on, according to our attorney, is gone. After 180 days, it dissolves.
But the opt-out is not gone. The
No.
opt-out was,
Well, you can opt out all you want, and you can opt right back in. It doesn't mean that you can't go back and change it. You think that because
Maybe.
somebody 10 years ago said, "Oh, we're not gonna do that here, we're opting out of all of that," and then all of a sudden, a new board comes on and says, guess what, we're opting back in.
right. But you're saying, I'm
We
saying.
haven't made a decision.
I'm just saying, it's not, I hear you talk about a moratorium, but I'm talking about something before that, which was an opt-out, which was everything. By the way, is this
No.
CBD or is this THC?
THCA.
It does have THC in it?
THC.
Which is that still mind altering or not?
It's pot. Same thing as
Well, no,
marijuana.
CBD oil does not make you high.
Some do.
You use CBD?
Do I? No, but it doesn't make you high. It's the THC is the active ingredient in
Okay,
marijuana.
these guys are gonna be, they're gonna be extracting oils and crystals off from stems, leaves,
Right. Well,
byproducts of marijuana.
if you took your oil, will it make you high?
No,
I mean, it'll make you high if you're taking it, but I'm not like the one to take it, like I'm selling.
no, no.
So it is THC, okay.
They take
Well, it's made from the leftovers of marijuana. These guys are gonna, and again, This doesn't mean that we are agreeing to put this in. We're just having
No,
a
but the people
conversation
need,
on it.
the people need to understand.
Yes, absolutely, and that's what we're trying to do here.
Yes.
But you cannot come into it with a closed mind and
I mean,
think that this
understand.
is just something that's gonna stop.
I'm really apprehensive about the place in Camden, only because it's in the middle of people's homes. And like, I don't want to do that to them in their homes.
Okay, let this lady ask her question.
They keep saying they wanna be in or out of the way. I don't want them building next door to me and I'm back out of the way.
Well, they
So
probably won't
it-
build next to you.
Well, they might not, but they might.
But we'll ask them not to. But what I'm saying is, that you can't come into this with a closed mind. We're not looking to turn the township into anything other than what it is. We are looking at what benefits the township as far as revenues.
Because we make a lot of money.
It's a business. It's a business.
So I have a question for them. He's not been allowed to talk. Do you want to take him first?
Yeah, I'd like, just a little bit more information. First of all, this sounds like a commercial operation, so is there gonna be a zoning?
It would be zone commercial.
What would, and maybe you can discuss, what would be the incoming utilities required? Your raw material and waste streams, is there an environmental impact? And, start dumping stuff out back?
So we're not dumping anything, like we'd have a septic system because we'd have a bathroom in there, but water and septic isn't used for this process. Air gas brings the propane butane mixture, it's like how Margaria has one sitting outside of their factory there, just like that, like the big air gas, they come and fill it up once a week. We don't dump anything, we have the trash service, I don't know if it's Republic out here, but like whoever it is that would come and take the dumpster, they come and empty the dumpster.
Will there be a waste stream off the mixers or grinders, right?
No, that all gets ground and that goes into the extractor and then that comes out of the extractor, goes into the dumpster and the dumpster gets hauled out to the
Right,
landfill.
the solids have to go in the dumpster.
And then it goes into the landfill, yes.
The solid, the solid
Which the
system.
the state requires, we're already pre-approved by the state to do this. Like we've already turned in our applications to the state. It's all licensed through the state, we've jumped through the political and bureaucratic hoops to get to the point where we're at.
Yeah, I understand that,
To answer one of your questions, the material waste that there is, everything's been extracted from it, and it's effectively like blades of grass afterwards, that's just left over. You could smoke all of it and you get nothing from it.
does it get composted or is
It gets taken, we have to mix, so the state requires you to like destroy it, so you mix with like kitty litter or sand, or pour bleach on it, and then send it to a waste facility so they dump. And it's,
Okay.
There's an electrical requirement on this.
yes, so we would have, so I was talking,
We'd rather run 223 phase at least.
I think we're gonna pull in 800 amps at 3-phase with step down transformers to run everything at 240, 120 inside.
So then the zoning question would be, is do we have 223 phase available? And
Well, that depends on what property they're looking at and where the electric would come from. So that's null and void. None of that stuff really is gonna matter until we either give them a tentative yes, go ahead and look for a piece of property, and then I'm imagining that when you're looking, you'll be looking for all this stuff to be available.
Yeah, well,
Because you're not gonna want consumers to pull it 10 miles.
No, definitely not, like that gets almost expensive.
So you'll be looking for a place, the property, whatever, that has potentially all of the electric that you're gonna need.
Yeah, or at least like.
And then it would take the health department to tell you if your land's gonna perk and if you can put a well in. So those permits would be drawn. All this stuff would have to be drawn by permit. And we would, all that the township would be doing would say, we would let you come in. Tentatively, given that you follow all the rules and regulations that are set by. Our part of this would be that you would have to draw your permits for the building from us. That would become a commercial operation. You'd be be subject to, I believe, personal property tax. So the township would get that, but we would tell you yes or no that we would allow you to come in.
Yeah.
We're not looking for anything to be snuck in here or have a big high-on facility where people go in and just do nothing but smoke dope and take oil.
There would be public hearing as well when we go to change from the rural
Absolutely.
to commercial, anytime you change zoning.
Absolutely, and there'd be a public hearing, but you would have to have a commercial operation.
And that
It
would
would
be,
be zoned commercial, not rural residential or industrial. And it could possibly turn industrial, but I believe it's.
A lot of
commercial.
places make you purchase land in their industrial parks, like, so but it's up to all the different municipalities. When Michigan first passed the law, I went to the MTA office over there on the other side of Ann Arbor or whatever, and got the phone book, and I called 1,500 townships in the state, and a lot of them said, we're on the fence, put moratoriums on it, some said flat out no, some said yes, some were, we'll get back to you, and didn't, it doesn't matter. Like, I highlighted everything, wrote down all the acronyms, I called it everyone in the state. Some people got mad because I had their phone number, even though they're public officials, and it's literally in the phone book from the Michigan Township Association.
Okay, so we're not looking to say no or yes, Mark.
Thank you. Two questions. Number one, you didn't really address the trucking very much because if you need at all Class A or frost-free roads, Adams Township has very few of those.
It's like a Dodge Sprinter van.
So it's under the weight limits and stuff. Yeah, gotcha.
No, I think like the largest one they have is maybe like the size of a mulch truck.
Okay.
With
The other question is why Cambria turned you down. They're a non-zone township, but
yeah,
they were just.
So Cambria opted out completely, 100% when it first came up. Even though they're unincorporated and not zoned, like I can do whatever I want in my yard according to the rules, except this. So they made a rule for that, which is weird to me because I have a motocross track right next door to my house, and they won't make them put a fence up. But I'm not in Cambria right now. I don't want to fight with them at the moment.
Okay, so
But
next
Cambria
question.
Cambria would allow me. I just stick in my yard. Like,
Let's,
I was wondering how many you will employ.
so this is a really small operation. There's Chris, myself, my two partners. One of them's a salesman, so he would never be there. And then my son and my aunt. And then after and Marla, which I don't even remember her last name, what it is, she got married. But it would be them while we figure out our process of like our workflow in there, and then after 6 months or 9 months, we'll reassess and be like, all right, we should put up another building and hire 10 people to run this. But first, we have to work out the bugs, like anything else. Like,
are you looking to buy enough property to expand on?
maybe like 2 to 4 acres. We might not ever go bigger, but we don't want to be pinched into where we can't. But we don't want to have if I bought 40 acres, I'd probably turn about 35 of it to hay. So it just depends on what we're able to find and what will work. The power, if someone has a shop somewhere down the way that's already pulled the 3-phase and consumers already ran the power out and they can drop a tombstone and give us power right there, cool. If not, we have to weigh the cost of what that'll be, plus the amount of time it takes for consumers to do anything. So.
Did you look into the industrial parks? I mean, I can't remember.
In where?
Hillsdale or?
In Hillsdale, Jonesville won't allow it. Like half the board says yes, half the board says no. So they just like.
I live in Jerusalem.
He
I tried.
Yeah, I mean, they have all the stuff you need.
I've owned a business in Jerusalem for 26 years and they still told me.
Reading has land in the industrial park, but somebody bought it and in Reading owns it, like the TIFA board owns it. And in it, if I say I buy 10 acres and I go to develop it, if if I don't develop all 10, after 3 years, Reading is supposed to get the land back from them so that they can, and pay the same price that they bought it for, so that they can go and sell it to someone else to build development in an industrial park. Well, their lawyers are arguing with the guy now, and it just does, it's not feasible for us to wait for the receipt of lawyers on that.
Okay.
So one more for me. I'm not personally against this. I think it'd be one of the least intrusive marijuana type operations
I think it
that
would
could
be
be.
the very least intrusive.
Yeah, but have you looked at the zoning to see, because I don't think we have any commercial areas available, do we, or industrial? And the requirements of the zoning might not even
That
work.
would fall to what you guys determine the zoning should be, or if it's like something, like, so in Reading, they said it has to be an industrial park, but then you also had, they also had to have a township meeting, or a city meeting, a special meeting to have a special use permit for it, specifically for the business, like for the marijuana businesses. So they had to have another meeting to give us approval for special use, because it's written into their ordinances. And then they did that. And
And you could draw a special land, you could purchase property and go in and file for a special land use permit.
yes, if your zoning has that it's available for that.
Sure.
And then whatever your ordinance would be, would reference that in your ordinance, so. But then that's also another thing, and then there's the licensing fee, like, so the state has us paid, it says the townships can charge us like up to $5,000 for the licensing application annually, and then plus the annual fee to the state, plus the taxes to the state. The county gets a lot of money already from it. Reading gets a lot of money. I would have liked to be able to go on Reading, it's way closer to my house, but at the end of the day, I have to find a place to do it, because I have partners.
Is there places around that are doing what you guys doing here locally or around that you guys are aware of? I mean, I was thinking you came to the first one to come up with.
Processing,
What you guys doing now?
I don't know. I know that there was somebody over on Crop Road in Scipio, is that how you say it? Scipio Township, that he was going through the process to grow and have a processing facility out there, like at his, like parcel off part of his property and doing it there. Other than that, I don't think there's another processor in Hillsdale County.
How about Ranger Calvin? I mean, how's he?
I don't know. I know that in what's Jackson County's
Ingham North.
what's Lenawee? Is that
Yeah,
whatever?
that's
Whatever
what
Jackson's in. There are the ones. Choice Laboratories, which is now Glorious, I think, is there. There was one called the Alvarez Brothers up there, but they went and sold their business.
Yeah, our business partner, he founded Choice Laboratories in Jackson.
Okay.
And that is the largest processor in Michigan.
Oh, is that?
They made 1 million gummies a day, they employ 350 people, and he knows how to run.
They started with a 5,000 square foot building and went.
Yeah.
Like,
We don't ever want to do that.
we don't want to go to the level they went.
No, that was crazy.
They had a gummy machine that could fill this room twice. Like it was wild.
Okay, so, what they're asking from us is permission to look for land with a tentative agreement that the township will allow them to put in a processing plant.
Nothing like.
Is that basically the end of it?
Yeah, like we wouldn't want to go and buy something
And I say,
under the auspices that we were going to be allowed to do it and not be able to do it. Like, is all.
as a board, that would be our decision, but, yes, you can look for land or, no, you're not gonna look for land in the township. My personal opinion is, I don't think this would be terribly bad for the township. I know it's an added income to the township because the state will give us money for your operation, for it being in our township. I see it as an income for the township. Whether or not it's a big income or a small income, but it would help us with the roads. It would help us with the roads, it would help us with anything else that arises, that we need the extra cash for.
Mr. Herman had a question, I think.
Mr. Herman?
I'm sorry, I'm a little bit at a loss, and I wanted to know what is the reason for this gentleman to give this presentation? I'm interested whether it is a legality. Is it a company? Have they got a legal company? Do they know what they can do legally in view of producing something? Knowing the detail, have they got a business plan and so on? What is the reason that they come to the township to present? Is there a legality behind it or so on? Because a lot of the audiences seem to know what they want to do. I haven't got a clue.
Let me see if I got the gist of it. The gist of it, I believe, is that they approached the township with their idea that they are going to open up a marijuana processing operation. But before they could open up the marijuana processing operation, they have to purchase land. They do not want to purchase the land if the township is going to say no. So they approached us on getting permission from the township to open up this operation.
For land. For the land is number one.
Well, they can purchase land and not open this.
Right.
Land is not a problem.
Right.
The problem is the township has to say, yeah, we're gonna let you guys get in there and do your thing with the marijuana.
So my question is, what legal documents have they got to prove what they are doing is a legal process in manufacturing something? Can they convince by some documentation from the state or from qualification institutions or so, can they prove that they could, I'm just asking.
Yes.
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 They
He
can
said
do
that
that,
earlier.
they give that to the township. So what is important, in my opinion, is that afterwards, when they manufacture, there must be a controlling process.
Yeah, we've already covered that.
Institutions who do that, which is not the township, but the township wants to be on the safe side, that we are not getting into trouble as a township because we allow something with it.
Right. That's why when he first talked to me on the phone, I called the township attorney. And I told him, because he sent it to me in a text. I read the text to the attorney. The attorney says, give me a day. So the next day he called me back and he said, look, I don't see anything going on with it. So at that point, I contacted contacted Susie. And then I said, we'll bring it up to the board. They called me back and said, I said, well, we're gonna bring it up to the board. They asked to attend. I said, good, because then you can explain the ins and outs. That's what they're here for.
But this will still have to go before the planning committee.
Oh, absolutely.
And the planning committee can still vote it down. So if you buy property, there's no guarantee. And I might bring up as well, in our zoning, there is no special land use for anything dealing with marijuana. We have golf courses, we have storage facilities, we have all that. There doesn't even exist something that they could apply for a special land use.
Can I talk?
It's not for me.
I own a bed and breakfast in Jonesville. It was originally zoned residential. We got it rezoned to commercial in our residential neighborhood. We did that with the neighbors' permissions. So I know that it's possible
We do
to get
that too,
something rezoned.
with a public hearing, we do that too, and then
Yeah.
the planning commission still votes on it, even after all the input from the public. The planning commission will vote yes or no on it. So even though we say yes, it's still got a bunch of hurdles to jump.
Yeah. Well, and then that's also when because you'll have to write an ordinance, because we'll have to be able to present that to the state for our final license, like we have pre-approval, but we still have a stack of papers that they turn into the state, their process, and then they'll require from us the ordinance from the township, they'll require the permission from the township. So there's still a lot to do there. And if you don't have the ordinance yet, that's something that would have to be written. And then that's at your discretion how you do that. I mean, I could help with input, like what I did with reading, I helped them. For like, in reading, I told them, well, if you're gonna allow me to come in here you should at least make me put up a steel building. You should make me put a fence around it. You should write this into your ordinance, these sorts of things into your ordinance, because say I sell the building to someone else, they wanna come in, I don't wanna sell them a pole barn that's gonna get blown over and get knocked down in 20 years, like something to be there like 50, 70, 100 years, so even after we're gone, your town still has a usable building in your thing, and they did. They made everyone after that, like people were mad that I said that, but like, it's, at a certain point, it's for, like we all die, like what's left should be usable by someone else, I would hope. So it's, and also, like I said, I'm really hesitant about Camden. They're gonna let us do it. I can't believe they're gonna let us do it right there in the middle of their town. Like I can't, like I wouldn't want that next door to my house. You know what I mean? But if they're gonna let us, so I'm hesitant to do it there.
You keep saying you don't want to do it, is it noisy or?
No, it's because there's a park across the street where little kids play.
Right, but I mean, it's just a closed business, nobody knows what's going on in there. It doesn't say marijuana.
No, it's not. I mean, they have like their dispensaries and their
Commercial building and stuff.
But it's just like, there'd be a house on the other side of the parking lot that close to it, and I wouldn't appreciate it if that was next to my house.
Right, yeah.
So I don't wanna do something that I wouldn't wanna appreciate with someone else.
We're just trying to be respectful to the region.
Whether or not.
Absolutely. Like,
Just
after the oils refined into distillate, they can turn it into, they add it to like lotions and creams. You can apply it to your skin and absorb that and actually just make the whole area numb. And you don't have to take a narcotic or anything like that.
To decide whether it's
go away. So yeah, there are a lot of resources to you can, if you get a gummy to help you sleep at night, you can go to sleep without sleeping. And I guess the only drawback is you want some Cheetos at some point.
We don't have to vote yes or no on this. It would be yes or no.
Say 5 years down the line,
If,
you decide you're not making any money in it. From what you had inside of it, is it like a gas station
in the country.
with the gasoline? They have to dig it all out before?
There'll be no underground tanks.
It'd be like, you know, you put anything outside the side yard, things like that. Like inside it would be, it'd be basically like an empty room.
It's just because we say, yeah, go for it, doesn't mean absolutely.
Have you looked at it close enough to even know if it would go commercial or industrial?
Yeah, I spoke that it would go, commercial because, they're not, they're.
Do you mind if I sit down? I broke my back and my leg is going.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it would fall under a commercial operation. And at that point, it still would have to go, if it was any place other than, it would have to be a special land use in order for that
Which
to happen.
Jason suggested that there's no provisions for that.
There would be an ordinance have to be drawn up under the whole thing for marijuana, for the marijuana operation, which is been already talked about with the attorney. As a just in case, not as a done deal. In which case, this whole thing is just to give them an opportunity. If we say we're not out of it, we would allow it. They would go out and look for crop. At that point.
Would it be acceptable if, like, let's say we found land and we tentatively wanted, if we could talk to the planning commission at that point, so we don't buy land and not get stuck with it, that they say no with. Sure. It'd be like, this is the land we want, the owner already said we can have it, here's our money for the land, but it's all tentative unless you guys say yes. Is that acceptable?
That's part of what I was, honestly.
Okay.
Just to be safe.
Yeah, no, that's the process, as I understand it from my last go around building for this.
So, if you wanna find a piece of property and bring it to then ask the planning commission to bring it to here, and then we would send it to the planning commission.
When did
The planning commission, when we.
First Monday of the month.
First Monday of the month at 6 p.m. here.
is there a way that you could, like, call them those special meetings that you did before? Because we want to get this ball, I'm not gonna lie, we're gonna go to the first place where we find it, and it's a good spot. And if you could make an exception to like just have an early meeting, because it would just be like us.
Well, it goes through the process, still would fall under having to be posted at a special meeting,
Yep, I understand.
That's $18.
and that's 18 hours. And then getting hold of the planning commission people and setting up the date. So that can, any special meeting can happen. It just
Yeah, because
doesn't grow.
we want to make sure that like we can keep the money local. Because the last thing we want to do is go to Jackson. They already make enough money off it.
Okay, so you gave us your pitch, I've got your number.
Yep.
Let us decide on it, and then I'll give you a call. In the meantime, if you do want to look for property, by all means, do that. And then let us know where it's at, and that will also be part of the process. Because we're gonna have to know where you want it. You're gonna have to find the property, and then you come see us.
Yeah, like the property, we'll send you the plan.
And if anyone that you talk to heard about this meeting and they have property and they're interested, let us know.
Okay.
We can do that.
Because some people have a lot of land and they don't mind getting rid of it, but it's not currently for sale.
Yeah.
So,
let's see how that works, and then we'll talk, in the meantime, we'll get with the planning commission. Okay?
does anyone else have any questions?
All right, I appreciate you guys coming.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
Very informative, very informative. All right, so, let's go to the next one, on the, under new business. June 7th, or July, I'm sorry. We're gonna go to July on the 7th. Can't do it June on the 7th. It's too early.
What that, you said June, but you were too.
So,
I don't care.
July 7th is a Monday.
All right, we, June 7th is on our paperwork here for the tentative township-wide cleanup. We're gonna put dumpsters back in the parking lot. It'll be on Saturday. And, we're gonna do the same cleanup that we did last year. If you're in the township, you can come dump your garbage, not garbage, but you know, stuff into the dumpster, and it won't cost you anything. And we'll be manning that. I will be here. Last year, thank God, Jason was here too, because we did a lot of stuff. I'm telling you, we filled 2 dumpsters last year, just in the day that we were here. So
how many dumpsters are we
we're gonna have, we'll have 2 more dumpsters with one on standby and a metal bin for people who wanna throw the metal in. And there'll be rules, you know, no tires, no batteries, no paint. You
So
know,
you could have 3 and 3 altogether.
yeah, 3 altogether. So, and we're gonna offer that up to the township again this year. It worked good last year. There's a lot of stuff put in there, and I would not wanna see in the ditch. If we could afford a tire dumpster, we would do the tires too, but we can't. So in the meantime, hopefully the county will throw another one of them together and
Yeah.
keep going to the fairgrounds and dump all that, the tires. But anyways, that dumpster, that cleanup day is gonna be June 7th, starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. And it's gonna go till like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay. Crack repair on the parking lot. I contacted, Belson Asphalt and RDK. They're gonna come over and they're gonna give us an estimate to refill the cracks in the parking lot. And then they'll seal coat it and restripe it. They did it last time, right? Yes. Yeah, she still had our paperwork. I I think I need the approval on the correct repair on the parking lot.
I'd motion.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to fill the cracks and repair the parking lot. All in favor? Passed. Okay, moving on again. Gonna go to the treasurer's notes.
Approved notes is, on the list is your investment report, the checking account amounts and investment reports, investment amounts. Those three American ones, matured late last week, and so I just, cashed them in and turned around and put those funds back into American class, because they were in the higher rates. So my investment is,
Okay, so the CDs,
yeah,
do you still have any CDs on?
yeah, I got those three, got called in, so I just took these three here and just cashed them in and moved on Michigan class to that liquid fund account.
Anything else?
No, that was enough.
Yeah, I'll need a motion to accept treasurer's report.
Motion.
Motion made.
And second.
Motion made and seconded to accept treasurer's report. All in favor? All opposed? All right, we're moving on to the bills. Any questions, changes, comments on the bills? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $12,872.45.
Make a motion to approve and pay the bills.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to pay the bills in the amount of $12,872.45. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we're moving to the cemetery. I'll entertain a motion to pay the cemetery bills in the amount of $720.
I motion.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Passed. Clerk notes.
One thing that I got in an email is for electronics, I put it on the board out there. This is, they are having this on April 25th from 8 to 12:30 for your old, broken, and unneeded electronics, small appliances, and cables. No large appliances like ovens, fridges, things like that. And that is going to be held at the Hillsdale County Fairgrounds. If anyone's got old computers, I thought we could hit the basement. Yeah, and we'll get all that stuff out.
And this is open to the public?
Yeah.
So anybody out that has computers or keyboards, laptops, all that kind of stuff that you're not using or no longer works, you can take it here for free, keep it on the landfill.
What day was that?
That is,
April 25th
at 8 AM to 12:30
at the fairgrounds.
at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, we can get down on Friday morning.
Anything else for you?
Yeah. The election, we're having trouble with the mail. I've had 2 ballots out now since last week. They're sitting at a process center, and meanwhile, since that I have gotten 2, but they aren't the right 2. So the post office master, the new one, James, who's down here, he and I are in close contact about that. Other than that,
That's it?
yeah.
Okay. As far as supervisor and zoning notes, we've had several compliance permits drawn in the last month on new construction, and it's nice to see people are actually building in Adams Township. People are moving here from other places. We've had them from got people that are coming into the township who are living in Jonesville and Hillsdale that are building in Adams Township. So, you know, we're welcoming all the new construction that we get. We've had house trailers that were actually are part of what's coming in. It's nice to see, you know, I counted 14 new compliance permits in 30 days. So, that's a good thing. We're building. Other than that, I have nothing else. Let's go to the second round of public comment. Remember, respect. 3 minutes. Mr. Klein.
We'll do a board review report. We had about 10 people from Jefferson Township, and they were petitioning because of blight in Jefferson Township. Their assessments were too high because their neighbors weren't keeping their properties cleaned up. I think we only had about 2 from Adams Township, and we didn't have anybody wait them. So
Good day.
that's a board review report.
Thank you. Anybody else on public comment? Yes.
Janice and I went out, last time you talked about Hill Cemetery. We went out and seen Hill Cemetery, not much there. But Kirby and Hill do not have a sign saying that it's Hill Cemetery and, Kirby. I just wondered if there could be a cheap sign put up so people knew that that's what was there.
The Hill Cemetery is a really old cemetery, and there's headstones in there with hills, so it must be from that particular farm, because it's right next to a farmhouse. It's quite interesting.
So there's no signs.
But I thought Kirby used to have a metal sign in it, kind of like this way.
Yeah, I think it used to be.
And I could be wrong on that, but Hill, we couldn't find any.
And it doesn't have to be real fancy.
No, just.
Let's see what I can do.
But on the way there, on the corner of Holcomb and Mock, you should drive out there and see the mess that's in that yard. And that's a health hazard.
Used to be where the Bra School was years and years ago.
Yeah, right on the corner. Well, I also have another question. You talked a while back about having a veterans memorial out here in the parking lot. Where is that?
We checked in on memorial stones. We want to make sure that whatever we put out there that we can update. We're also gonna, we got the pamphlets on the flagpoles. We want a flagpole put out there, and it will be a different flagpole from what's in here and up in the, and it's gonna go into the northeast corner, off the northeast corner of the parking lot. And
Still in the process.
yeah, we have to make sure that we can add names to it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
What was
and-
the one that you looked at that was so expensive?
Yeah, well, yeah, you can get a marble statue thing, tall, you put all the names onto it. What we wanna do is separate the wars. Now, we do know that World War I, you're not getting anybody else. 2, Korea, Vietnam, and you're gonna be getting into the Desert Storm. Vietnam War still has people alive.
Let's do a Civil War out there too.
We got Civil War too. Well, make sure that we cover everybody. The ones that we are concerned about is the ones who are still active duty, that did go to Desert Storm,
Yeah.
stuff like that who do pass on with, that we are able to add names to this memorial that's, without having a great expense to the township. Now, if we have checked in on similar to a cemetery stone, only a tall one, that we could put names on and have the wars, what war they were in. And as we needed it, then we could add a name onto it by having it engraved.
Are these gonna be the only ones that are buried here, or ones that are from our township? Am I aware
We have to get something, because what we have right now just isn't working. And I am looking, trying something cheaper and something easier.
The other one was gorgeous, but it was just,
So much money. We can get in, look at Jonesville's memorial over there, oh my God.
a ton of money there.
Yeah, there was $68,000. So. I'm still I am still. I'd like to have it, I wish I would have had it done by Memorial Day, it's not happening this year, maybe next year, if I can get it pushed into it. I just gotta find the right one at the right price. Otherwise I'll get in trouble for spending too much money. Yeah.
Can you tell us what the state revenue sharing is, the amount for 25, 26 yet?
I can't. I don't know.
Not only that, estimate, I can tell you what was last year for our audit was, 214,000 was, 2024's fiscal year ending, what the audit said, but for, 25, 26, and you can go online yourself and just go to Treasury's website, Revenue Book website, and just drill down to Hillsdale County, Township, and you can look at anybody out there that gives you that. And you can look up the estimated for, because the state is on October through September. Obviously, we're on March through April, so you gotta do like 2 years, fiscal years, and do like overlay of cherry pick the months that fall in for our fiscal year wise and stuff there.
Because I know last year you gave an amount, and that was when you did your budget hearing. So I thought, well, you must know what what the approximation is for 25, 26.
Yeah, after the meeting, when you email, I can check it out at other job and get to it and touch the stuff there.
Appreciate that, thanks.
Anybody else? Al?
You might run it by the village, because at one time Rick was talking about trying to do something like it too.
Well, yeah, you know, I'm not saying bad things, but, last time on Memorial Day last year, people were walking on graves, they were every place up there. It needs to be a nice memorial where they can come, park their cars in the parking lot, off from the road, gather to a memorial, do their thing, and then it'll be over. And that memorial will be there for hopefully years and years to come. If I can just get the price on those stones right. It's hard to get a stone that anybody wants to, and it has to be engraved and updated all the time if we have deaths, so it has to be something that is absolutely user friendly. Anybody else? No? Okay, moving on to adjournment. Motion made and supported. We are adjourned.